Go ahead, I'm ready.
I got a male patient coming in. We got on scene, found the patient to have agonal respiration. This patient's got multiple injuries. Our left leg is below the knee is fully degloved.
What's up, friends? My name is Bree. It's great to meet you. I'm so glad that you guys are taking the time to do a little bit more research about what you want to do with your life. No pressure. Don't be stressed out. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do. I just kind of wanted to give some information from my experience because I feel like when I was trying to make the decision about what I wanted to do after college, there weren't very many realistic sources of information on what I should do and what things are like, what kind of situations you're going to be put in for each job. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys my perspective because I wish that somebody would have given it to me in this fashion also. If your first question is,
oh my god, oh my god, oh my god,
should I be an EMT? Is it too much? I'm a little nervous. What's it like? How much training does that require? All of these questions, we all have them. So I just want to start off by telling you it's different in every state. So it's really going to be dependent on what the policy is for your state, what the protocols are for your state, and what the process is for your state. I got EMT licensed in California, and then I moved to Oklahoma, and I had to get my Oklahoma license, but I didn't do schooling in Oklahoma, and I know the process is a little different. So let me tell you the process that it was in California. I went to UCLA Center for Pre-Hospital Care. It was an accelerated summer program, so I think the whole program was about 3 months. I don't know. I took it during the summer in between my undergrad when I was getting my degree in biology. That's another story. That summer was a bit of a blur, but I'm going to do my best to tell you my experiences. So I signed up for the class online. It was an online hybrid course, which means that I took it every Wednesday from, I think it was like 7 to 9:30. I had to log on to this website and we were lectured online, and then we could ask questions like through the chat. We could chat on the little video chat thing. And then on the weekends, I think it was on like Saturdays from 8 to 6, we would do all of the clinical like lab portions of the class. So I'm talking about things like we would learn how to put in an OPA and put in an NPA and how to assist paramedics.
Are you in need of any assistance today, sir?
no.
We would learn how to do things like taking blood pressure, listening to lung sounds, how to spinally immobilize people. We learned how to do all the skills that are the actual practical skills that you're going to do on a patient. We learned how to do that every Saturday. And then the Wednesdays online class was all the learning portion where we just went through the textbook and discussed how the lungs work and how the heart works. And in the meantime, you would need to be studying on your own. So that was the process for just the schooling for EMT Basic. That lasted, I think, like I said, about 3 months, and then after the 3 months, you have to take the final for the course. And whether or not you pass the course is decided by your instructors. And then if you pass the course based off of your final, which is a final cumulative exam, and then also a practical exam that you have to take where they'll give you a medical and a trauma scenario. So for the medical scenario, they'll give you a patient that has, I don't know, is having a heart attack, and you have to sit with them and get a history and assess them and then give them the appropriate treatment. And then the trauma assessment is that they'll give you a trauma patient and you have to appropriately do a rapid trauma assessment on them. And if you pass that, then the school will notify the National Registry of EMTs, and then you become eligible to go take the National Registry exam, which is the exam that allows you to get your magical patch. So this isn't, well, I shouldn't say this isn't the magical one, but I'm currently in paramedic school, and so the magical one in my brain is the gold patch, because that patch allows me to do a lot more skills that I'd really like to be doing, that I've just been watching other people doing this whole time, and make judgment calls that I'd really like to be making. So to me, this is not the magical patch, because to me the magical patch is the golden patch. But that might be because I've been in school for 3 semesters and I'm really ready to be done and be making an actual income. So after EMT school, you go take your National Registry exam, which requires you to go to a testing center, a qualified testing center, which means that there's a bunch of cameras and you have to be checked before you can come in, and you have to lock all of your things in a locker and all like that. So you have to find a testing center, and then you have to schedule with them to go take your written exam. I can't actually remember. I think you have to also take a practical. This was in 2015 that I took this, so I'm really sad that I don't remember. But I think you also have to take your practical exam, which is where you get all hands-on with somebody, and then that's one portion of it, but I think you do that at school. I think that might actually be your lab final that you have to take in school. The memory that I vividly recall is going to the testing center and taking the adaptive exam. So that exam is an adaptive exam, which means that there's a series of questions that range from hard to medium to easy. And so it's a responsive test, so that if you are answering all of the easy questions, then they'll start giving you medium questions. And if you answer all the medium questions correctly, then they'll start giving you hard questions. So I think there's a total of like 150 questions that you could be taking, which means that you've either, if you get to 150, either you've maxed out and they've given you all the questions they could have possibly given you, and you answered so many of them wrong that they just let you finish taking the test and you failed and you have to retake it, which is so unfortunate. And I hope that never happens to any of you guys, but if it does, it's okay. I know lots of people that it did happen to, and it's okay. You can take it again and it's fine. It's a nerve-wracking thing. Don't worry about it. You answer enough of the questions correctly, then it'll cut you off really shortly. So it could go either way. Either you answer too many questions incorrectly and they just cut you off at like 70 questions because they've calculated that you cannot possibly pass the exam. Even if they give you more questions, even if they give you another 50 questions, you're not going to be able to pass the exam because you haven't taken enough, you haven't answered enough of them correctly. Or it means that you answered all the easy ones correctly, all the medium ones correctly, and all the hard ones correctly, and they've challenged you to their heart's content enough to let you stop, so you pass at that level. So mine tapped out at, I think it was 69 questions that I tapped out at, which it gave me a full-blown panic attack because then I hit next. It doesn't give you a preparation for this, for the ending of the test. You just keep hitting next, and then if you're done, it just closes the window, and then you're done. That's it. You gotta walk up, you gotta take your shit, you gotta leave, and it's really stressful because you don't know if you passed or if you failed. Like, you really have no idea. The questions are hard, and you definitely lose all of your confidence during that test. So my advice to you is to study really hard. Give it the time that it requires. I spent a lot of time taking practice tests. This is the book that I used. It's pretty outdated. I think it's from like 2010. This helped me so much. It's just got like tons and tons of practice tests, and it's got them all separated into medical, trauma, allergic reactions, OB-GYN, like peds. It separates it into sections. At the back of the book, you can go back and it'll explain why the correct answer is the correct answer. So even though it's from 2010, it helped me just kind of critically think and understand more physiology and why everything works the way that it does and why answers are the right answers. So there's also cumulative exams at the end. So I did those once I started attacking the categories that I was not very good at and I didn't feel very confident in. So I started doing those ones first, and then I did the cumulative ones after that. But that's just what I did. There's tons of other ways that you can study, and I really wish that they would come out with an updated version, and maybe they have, I just haven't looked. You find out if you pass or not. I think they don't tell you right when you click or when you submit it. You have to wait, I think it's like a week. They actually send you a letter, and the letter tells you whether or not you passed, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. I didn't realize how long that's been. I'm so sorry if this isn't helpful, but I promise I'll get to some more helpful things. So then you find out if you pass, and then if you pass, you have to go get certified at the state level or your county level. So I actually drove all the way up to Ventura to get my California state license because I didn't want to wait the 1 to 4 months that it takes for LA County to give you their license. So I got my California state license up in Ventura, and they literally you pay like $170, and then they give you your card right in front of you up at Ventura's EMS department. LA, you have to apply, and then they send it to you in the mail, and I heard that it took somebody 4 months, which I was trying to get a job earlier, so that's why I drove all the way up to Ventura. Then once you do that, in the state of California, you have to get your California ambulance driver's license. Here's the big difference between my experience at California and Oklahoma. So in California, it's a tiered system, which means that there are BLS trucks and ALS trucks. So the BLS trucks are basic life support. The ALS trucks are advanced life support. So that means that on the BLS trucks, there are 2 EMTs, EMT basics or AMTs or intermediate EMTs, which one of them, I think intermediate is the one that got cut out and there's no longer that. I don't think that's a position anymore. I don't know. I should have done more research before I did this video, but I was just really excited, so please don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. And the ALS truck is paramedics, so it'll be 2 paramedics, and that's in the state of California. So that is what I was expecting. Also for your schooling, you have to do, I think it was honestly like 2 to 4 ride-alongs in a BLS truck, which, I mean, I watched some other people's videos and apparently you have to do quite a few more hours for other people's programs, which I think it actually might be similar to that in the state of Oklahoma where I am now, but I only had to do like 2 or 4 ride-alongs and they were really awesome, and I had a really good FTO that was super nice and like wanted to teach me everything, and I hope that you guys get an awesome preceptor because that can really make the difference. It's really awkward and I don't want that to shape your experience if you get on a truck and it's with somebody who really doesn't want to teach you and they're all burnt out and grumpy. So if that happens, it's okay. They're not all like that. You might still have a good experience, so push through. That would be my advice to you, because if you got stuck with somebody crappy, I just want you to know they're not all like that. They might have just been having a bad day, or they had a really bad call, or they're just a grumpy human being. I don't know. We all have our days. I know that I can have my days. I know I can just like hear all my friends on family. Bitch, we know. I'm aware. But anyways, well, in the state of Oklahoma, it's not a tiered system. Some trucks are just EMTs, like 2 EMTs, and some trucks are an EMT and a paramedic, and some trucks are a paramedic and a paramedic. So it's kind of all over the spectrum. It's also kind of based off of like who they have come in that day and who's available. So it just depends. At the company that I work at, the standard is that what they want to have is a paramedic with an EMT, and then they also have a truck that is supposed to be the BLS truck to pick up all the transfer calls. I really love this system because it enables you to learn so much because you're working with a paramedic. So if you're trying to decide if you want to be a paramedic or not, it's awesome because you don't have to just do volunteer hours. You can work and get paid as an EMT and find out if that's a position that you want to do. So I'm super appreciative of my job and the opportunity that I've been given, because it's the reason that I realized I wanted to be a paramedic. Whereas you don't work quite as closely with them in other states where it's a tiered system. I don't know. I could be wrong. I never worked there. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know. But that's been my experience. So I decided that I wanted to be a paramedic, and now I've been in paramedic school for the past year. I've already done 3 semesters because I did the accelerated summer program, and then we will be done by the end of next June. So I'm sorry that I don't already I'm sorry that I don't already have all of the answers for you because I'm not all the way through the process, but I do want to just kind of tell you what my experience has been so far. So I signed up for the program. I thought that there would be more requirements for this program to apply just because of my really traumatizing experience at UCLA. Because it was really hard to get into that university, and so I just assumed that all programs are that difficult to get into and that I would need to take some more classes somewhere else before I could get in. But I emailed the program director and he said,
actually no, it's nothing like a typical university's process. You just follow this link and you literally sign up and we'll let you know if you're in.
As long as you basically have a high school degree, you're good. So I did that and I got accepted like the next day, and then I started the program, I don't know, like 3 months later. I can't remember, it's been a year. It's been a long year. You sign up and then you could get a degree in paramedicine. It's an associate's degree, or you can get just the certificate. Most programs are just certificate. My program director is really big on emphasizing that it is a degree program and not a certificate program, and that they don't actually give us a certificate, but they do give you the qualifications to take the NREMT. So as long as your program is accredited and will give you the preparation and tools to take the NREMT, and they will verify with NREMT that you can take the paramedic exam, then that's what matters. I do encourage everybody to get a degree just because I think that I was so much more well prepared for school.
Recall hundreds of important details at the drop of a hat. Hey, Elle, do you know what happened on Days of Our Lives yesterday? Why, yes, Margot, I do.
Because I already had a degree at a really big university. And I don't mean that in a discriminatory way. I just think that you set yourself up for success if you start off with some foundation knowledge like I did with my degree in biology. A lot of the concepts were so much easier for me just because I had already been exposed to the information at a more challenging level, and so balancing everything new with this job really helped. It really helped me that I had some background experience. So if anybody is wondering, like they went to college, there's a fuzz like here, but it looks fake because I don't think you guys can see it. So if I just like cross my eyes, I promise there was a fuzzy fuzz. I just pictured that scene from Dory and he's like, you are my squish. That's my recommendation to you if you're trying to decide whether or not you should get the degree. Well, if you already have a degree, I don't think that you need to get the associate's degree. I think that if that's your prerogative and that's what you want to do, then you should. But I don't think that there is a need to get the associates just because a lot of the classes are the same. I am just going to go through the certificate program because I already have my degree, so I'll just be taking extra classes and that'll be attributed to my GPA if I want to go to school later, which is also part of the reason why I did this program, was because I wanted to boost my GPA from my not so awesome years of undergrad. It's not my best version of myself. I signed up for the program. It's 4 semesters total that you have to take, at least 4 semesters to take paramedic care 1, 2, 3, and 4 at my school. And then during my first semester, I also took an EKG class, and then I took another class, but I can't. I can't remember. Then in the summer I took paramedic care 2 and I took pharmacology with that, and then this semester I took paramedic care 3 and EMS operations because I took my EMT class in California and my program director did not approve of that class, so I had to retake EMS ops even though I already had it. And then next semester I will take paramedic care 4 and that is it, and I will do my internship during those years. So in the entire program I think you have to take like 108 not 100, I wish it was 100. It's 800 something hours, clinical hours, where you go into the hospital. So we do clinicals at Children's Hospital, ER, and dialysis, the ICU, there's a cardiac ICU and a trauma ICU. You do them in the OR so you can learn how to intubate, and you do them in the field. So you'll do them with any EMS company that you choose that your program has approved, and you'll go out and do write-outs with them also. So you really do them for kind of everything. You do all those clinicals, and then you also have at least 2 days in class, if not 3, and occasionally 4. And so you'll typically have if you have two days of class for your paramedic course, one day will be a lab day, and then the other day will be in class day. So one day will be learning skills, like learning how to intubate, learn how to use the life pack, and how to pace people, and how to cardio over people, and how to take a 12 lead, how to interpret a 12 lead, and all things like that. That will be in your lab class. And trust me, I just want to tell you right now that during your lab class, you're going to be like, I don't know what we're doing. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? How do I push these buttons? If I push this button, am I going to kill somebody?
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
And the answer is no. None of us do know. And I'm telling you right now, we're at the end of our 3rd semester and we're going into our 4th semester, and all of us still feel like, fuck. So I just want you to know that you are going to feel that way the whole time, even having a degree and experience. I guess I don't have that much experience. I've worked for almost 2 years as an EMT, and I also work in a hospital, and I've worked there for a year as an ER tech, but it's more of a lab tech position. So I do more with like drawing labs and running labs and things like that there, and then like stocking stuff. It's less of patient care position, but even with that experience, I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And so I think a lot of people struggle with that because they feel like, well, they struggle with it and they don't want to talk about it, but people feel like maybe they've taken on too much, and maybe this is a responsibility that they don't know if they can handle. And I guess I'm not at the end of that, so maybe I can't say that whether that's true or not, but I do want you to know that it's okay to feel that way, and it's actually appropriate to feel that way because it's a really scary job. You're taking on a huge responsibility, and you know, it should be that way. So if you're feeling that way, I love you and I accept you, and it's okay, and you can feel that way. And don't let any of the other grumpy people make you feel like you shouldn't be doing this because you feel that way. It's okay. There's just like, there's this huge ego in medicine, because honestly, I think it's because everybody's nervous and it takes so much to do all the positions that we do. So I feel like it's kind of a self-defense mechanism to shove it in your face that you're not as good as them, or that you don't know what you're doing, or that you made a poor decision.
Listen,
We all make bad decisions, and I understand that this is a high-stake time to be making the wrong decision, but the reality is that you went to school for a reason, you enjoy this job for a reason, you want to be helping people, so it's okay. And if people are making you feel bad, just like screw them. Because that just, to me, that speaks volumes of their character, and if they're trying to put you down as opposed to just trying to help you, that's just straight up stupid. That's my story on that section of it. So if you go on clinicals and they make you feel like crap, I just want you to know they're not supposed to be doing that. Nobody's supposed to be doing that. It is part of the culture to haze a little bit, and I do respect that, and I understand that, and like, come at me with the hazing, bro. I wasn't in a sorority, so I guess I needed to do it at some point.
Shut the fuck up.
But that part's okay, but I just want to let you know, like, it's okay, and don't let people discourage you, and don't let them treat you like, at the end of the day, you're still a human being, and they don't need to be disrespectful on that level. So but be respectful of yourself. So I mean, if somebody is treating you unfairly, you know, compose yourself professionally, and then talk to your clinical director, and that's my best advice for you on that one. Once you go through school, you have to pass all of your school's process and tests and lab finals and stuff like that, which you'll have all of those at the end of each semester for each class. And then once you've done that for your class, it's the same process for EMT. The school has to know, once you apply for to take the EMT exam, the EMT is going to ask your school, hey, did this person actually pass and complete your class? And they will say, okay, if you sign up for a test, we will allow you to take it now. So then you have to go take the test, and you have to take a written exam, and then you also have to take a practical exam. I don't actually know all of the steps that are in those. I've been getting mixed answers because I think they've been changing it a lot in the past year. It's gonna be a long day. That's what I know. I will be taking my coffee. I will be taking so much coffee that I will probably get jittery, and they will wonder if I should be a patient for being an SVT.
Ma'am? Are you alive?
But nonetheless, it will be fine. I will be fine. I will be fine. And then you get certified, and then you can start working somewhere. And you have to get your license again, your state license, and then you can start working. Let me talk about, just really quick, I do want you to know that this job is really hard, and it's hard in ways that I don't feel can be appropriately discussed to the fullest of their extent without you experiencing it yourself, which kind of sucks. But I mean, I'm gonna try anyways, just because I don't know why I'm trying. I didn't listen to any of the people that said this when I started the job. They give you lectures over and over and over again. And you're like, yeah, we get it. We're gonna be traumatized. We're gonna have PTSD. This is really hard. Let me tell you, there are aspects of this job that are so hard in ways that you don't even expect it to be hard. I just want you guys to know that if at some point you go through enough really bad calls that you're realizing that this is affecting you outside of work, and it's affecting you on a level that it's changing who you are at your core, I want you to know that, number one, it's okay to talk to people, because they say that and they say that and they say that and they say that, and a lot of people don't mean it. But I just want you to know, like, I mean it, and you should talk to people about it. You should talk to the person that you're most comfortable with about this, and you need to talk to people about it. I don't know why it's this huge hush-hush thing, and like, after all this knowledge about mental health, I don't know why it still needs to be a discussion that it needs to be a discussion. But it does need to be a discussion, and you need to talk to people about it, whether it be your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your best friend, your dog, like your boss. You need to talk to somebody about it if you're not doing okay. The second step is, if it's getting to a point where you're like dreading going to work and you're having nightmares and you don't want to go in anymore and you're questioning whether your efforts are even worth it anymore, I want you to know, I feel like a lot of us get to that point, and it's a time for you to ask yourself, Is this job taking more from me than I want it to? And so for me, that question is still no, but I could foresee that question being yes at some point, which is why this isn't my long-term plan. At some point, I'd like to do something different, but for right now, I really enjoy it. And I'm okay with what it's taking out of me right now. And what I mean by that is you're gonna run a lot of really crazy calls that, like, I don't really want to talk about it right now, because I mean, if that's something you guys would want to talk about, then I could do another video just on that. But I don't really want to just make everybody sad, because for people that don't understand this job, it's just really hard, and you see a lot of things that you didn't expect yourself to be seeing. And sometimes it's so crazy, you feel really traumatized or just deeply saddened, or really just shook by things that shouldn't bother you if other things didn't, or at least that's what you think in your head. That's what I thought in my head when I started realizing that it was affecting me. I was having nightmares, and I started thinking worst case scenarios all the time, and I started being more stressed out about my loved ones. And it's so crazy, because I felt fine for the longest time, and then I had one call that was really not that bad. And all of a sudden, I was not okay. I was crying. I was thinking about quitting my job. I thought that I didn't want to do this anymore. And it was a call that was so much less traumatic than all the other calls that I had had. And so I just want you to know that if that happens to you and you're like, why am I not okay after this one, but I've had a million other really crazy ones, well, I want you to know that that's normal and that's okay. And I just want you to know that if that starts happening to you, it's okay if this isn't the right thing for you to do. There are lots of other jobs that you can get with this experience, and I want you to know that any job, I don't care what it is, I don't care what you're doing, if it's taking too much out of you than you're wanting to give it, it's okay for you to find something different. Don't be afraid to do it, or, well, that's a lie. Be afraid, be scared, because that's the appropriate stress response, and your body is telling you something appropriate that you should be feeling. So it's okay if you're feeling scared, but I just want you to know that it's okay to choose something different. It's appropriate for you to be feeling the way that you're feeling. You just have to decide what it's worth to you. For me, like I said, this is still worth it to me, and this is still giving me all the joy that I want to get from it. So let me just start with, nobody has a freaking clue what paramedics do. I don't know why nobody knows. I didn't know before I started the program. I have no idea why nobody knows. But nobody knows what paramedics do. Nobody knows what EMTs do. Are you an ambulance driver? No, I'm fucking not. I've been in school for 2 years for this. Like, if you called for an ambulance, I just want to ask you, if you called for an ambulance and they said, all right, ma'am, go ahead and have a seat in the back and we'll drive you to the hospital, do you think you'd be okay with that? No, you wouldn't, because that would be an ambulance driver's job. That would be the only thing they would do if that was the appropriate title. They'd say, all right, go ahead and hop back there, Gina. I know that you're in cardiac arrest, but just hop on back there and we'll get you to the hospital. Get so much shit for this. That's not what we do. We are not ambulance drivers. That is a specific position and title in some places where you just get the driver's license and that's all you do is you drive paramedics and EMTs around. That is an actual job. So I just want people to know that that's not what EMTs and paramedics do. As an EMT, I have to call medical director, or I have to get a paramedic's permission to do anything on my own. Let me just explain a couple of differences. As paramedics, you can give a lot more medications based off your own judgment call, whereas if you're an EMT, you have to call medical control and you have to ask permission to give most of the drugs that are on your truck based on the protocol in your city. Some of them are much more broad and they allow you to make decisions on your own, and then there are some cities that are super micromanaged and you basically can't give anything. You're so close to a hospital that the medical director was just like, maybe just call and ask me, or just like haul ass to the hospital. So for paramedics, you can give medications without having to get medical control's permission. And you can also intubate, and you can start IVs, and you get extensive training in ACLS. I know there's like ACLS training and certificates that you can get that all hospitals require their employees to have. But let me just tell you, I took that class first, and then I took it over and over and over and over again in school, and it's just completely different. I feel like each position in medicine has something that they have particular training on, that they get a lot of experience in, and they're kind of experts in. For paramedics, I feel like they're really good at interpreting EKGs. I'm not yet, because I haven't interpreted enough of them.
Yeah, no shit, honey!
But most of them are really good at interpreting EKGs for not having more cardiology education other than the EKG course. And they're also really good at running cardiac arrests, because they run them a lot. That's one of the things that they get called for the most. So we do that so much. It's crazy, the difference between the certificate and what the school teaches you. People, like civilians, are going to not understand what you're allowed to do. They're gonna ask you questions like, are you allowed to do that? Are you sure you should be doing that? Do you know what you're giving me? Do you know how much you're supposed to be giving me? Like, they ask you the strangest questions, which I know the doctors get these questions too, and you're just like, why did you come here if you don't want my advice that you specifically sought out? It's the strangest thing. But so that's one thing, is that people are going to be just so perturbed as to what you're allowed to do and what your limitations are and what your capabilities are, and it's going to be just like dumbfounding that you went to school for so long and did so much training and nobody understands what you're allowed to do. It's a weird experience, and that's normal. The other more strange thing is like, people in the medical field have no idea what we do, which I guess every little subspecialty has the same struggle. But when you go on clinicals, they'll ask you, what's your skill set? And when you walk in as a paramedic 1 student, which means that this is like your first week of school and you have no idea what you're doing or what's expected of you, you walk in and you say, I can do assessments. And like, you kind of cut yourself off because you do your clinicals at the same locations from that point on for the entire next 2 years or 18 months or however long your program is. So then every time you come in, they're kind of just like, okay, do an assessment on that patient, and then they have you help them restock things because they have no idea what you do. And so I do want to tell you, nobody's gonna know what you can do, and you're not gonna know what you can do yet. But let me just tell you that it's okay for you to vocalize what you can do and what you need practice on. So stand up for yourself, walk in and say, hey, I can do IVs now. If you have anybody that needs an IV started, let me stick them. Let me shove it in them. Please let me get in on that action. And they will, because they've been doing it for a long time and they don't want to do it. And the same thing for intubations. I was the most scared of intubating ever. When I went in, I really honestly didn't want to stick my head in and be like, hey, I haven't intubated anybody and I really need to do that because I need to learn how to do it. Instead, I was just kind of like, you're not helping yourself. Put yourself in positions that you're a little bit uncomfortable in, because that's the only way that you're going to learn. And ask people and tell people, because if you tell them, hey, it's within my scope of practice to learn how to intubate and I really need practice doing that. So if you get any, can you please let me know so that I can shove it down their throat, please? Thanks. I need to be able to do that at some point in my life. Then as soon as they get an intubation, they'll come grab you, and the fact that you showed initiative to like let them know and communicate what you're doing. People want to help you, they want to teach. Some people are grumpy, like I prefaced, but a lot of people actually enjoy teaching and would love to teach you. So speak up for yourself, tell them what your scope of practice is, because I promise you, nobody understands what your scope of practice is, but if you are clear with it, then you will get out of your clinicals what you put in. And let me just tell you, whatever, like, these clinicals are frustrating because you're exhausted, you're probably working 1 to 2 jobs, you're studying all the time, you're doing study groups, you're doing extra credit stuff, you're doing stuff all the time. And let me just tell you, what you get out of your clinicals is what you put in. And I, like, whenever the instructor and preceptors would say that, I was just like, oh yeah, that's dumb. Of course it is. Like, we don't need to be told that. But here, to a lesser degree, I'm not saying you have to walk in and be crazy perky and volunteer to do everything. I'm saying that if you have a skill set that you really want to practice, you should walk up and you should tell whoever's in charge, or tell the physician that you're following that day, or the nurse that you're following to that day, tell them that that's your goal for the day and that's what you would like to accomplish, and that will help you a lot. Yeah, let me know what kind of videos you want to talk about. If you want to talk about, honestly, I just want to talk to you guys. I just want to kind of spread the things that I've learned, because I would have loved to have had somebody to tell me all these things. And so I just want to tell you guys that stuff, and I just want to sit here and hang out with you guys. Hang out with you guys in a little a little fake succulent. Just do me a favor, give me a couple of likes, and hit the subscribe button. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Be safe. Don't talk to strangers. Make good choices. Bye.